Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm bringing you one of the most emotional and powerful stories you'll ever hear, a story that begins in a quiet cafe on an ordinary afternoon but turns into a life-changing moment for three strangers whose paths were never supposed to cross. So settle in, because this one is going to stay with you long after the video ends. It all began on a chilly weekday afternoon in a small corner cafe, the kind of place that smelled like freshly ground beans and warm pastries. Outside, people were rushing through their routines, but inside the cafe everything felt slow, like time had taken a breath and paused. Near the window sat a woman in her mid-30s. Her name was Lila. She was paralyzed from the waist down after an accident 3 years earlier, and though she had learned to navigate life in a wheelchair, what she hadn't learned was the loneliness that came with it. Her friends tried to stay in touch at first, but slowly their visits became rare, invitations dried up, and she found herself spending most days alone except for the moments when she forced herself out into the world, like today. She had rolled herself into the cafe hoping to treat herself to a cup of hot chocolate, her favorite, but the cafe was unusually crowded and no staff member seemed to notice her. She kept trying to catch someone's attention, raising her hand slightly, but with so many people moving about she simply blended into the background. Minutes passed, then more minutes, and she could feel the lump tightening in her throat. She didn't want to cry, not here, not in public. She hated feeling invisible, but she couldn't help it. Whenever people looked past her chair as if it were empty, as if she were empty, she would feel that old weight pressing down on her chest. She finally whispered to herself, maybe I should just leave, but leaving wasn't easy, not when getting through a crowded room meant asking people to make space, not when she knew they'd sigh or pretend they didn't hear her. She braced her hands on her wheels, preparing to try anyway, when suddenly the cafe door opened again, letting in a gust of cold air, and with it came a tall man in a navy coat holding the hand of a little girl with bright eyes and messy pigtails. The girl was humming a tune, skipping her steps. The man was focused on the phone in his other hand, taking quick businesslike strides that made it obvious he wasn't there for a break. He was there because his daughter had begged for a pastry on the way home from school. Lila didn't pay them much attention at first, but the little girl did. She scanned the cafe the way children do, soaking in everything with curiosity, until her eyes landed on Lila, and unlike everyone else who looked past the wheelchair, the girl stopped. She stared openly, not rudely but with genuine interest. Then she tugged on her father's sleeve. Daddy, why is that lady sitting all alone? The father glanced up and followed her gaze. He was a CEO, a man used to commanding boardrooms, rushing between meetings, and living in a world where minutes were money. Daniel Hartman, that was his name, though everyone in his company called him Sir or Mr. Hartman because he didn't leave space for familiarity. But today, when he saw the woman by the window, something in him paused. He couldn't put a finger on it, but he felt a pull, a sense that something wasn't right. The girl tugged again. Daddy, can we go talk to her? He hesitated. He had a conference call in 10 minutes. He didn't have the time, but then he looked at his daughter's face, hopeful, innocent, persistent, and he let out a breath. Okay, just for a moment. They walked toward Lila, and as they approached she straightened as much as she could, forcing a polite smile even though her eyes still carried that tremble of humiliation. The little girl was the first to speak. Hi, I'm Maya. What's your name? Lila blinked, surprised by the direct kindness. I'm Lila, she murmured, her voice soft, and the father offered an apologetic smile. Sorry if my daughter is bothering you. She tends to make friends easily. Lila gave a small genuine smile. She's not bothering me at all, actually. It's nice. He nodded, but he could see at the hint of sadness she couldn't hide. He knew that look. He'd seen it on his own face years ago after his wife passed away, when people surrounded him, yet he felt utterly alone. Maya meanwhile climbed onto the chair beside Lila, swinging her legs. Daddy, she needs help, she whispered loudly enough for everyone to hear. Lila's cheeks warmed. I'm okay, really, I was waiting for someone to notice me. The little girl frowned in confusion. But you're right here, how could no one notice you? Daniel felt something twist in his chest, because children don't see through the filters adults do. They don't judge or ignore, they just feel and respond. He stepped closer. Would you like something to drink? I was about to order for Maya anyway. Lila hesitated. She didn't want to seem helpless. She hated accepting help, but her voice betrayed her. Just a hot chocolate, please, if it's okay. Maya beamed. Daddy, we can get it for her, right? Daniel smiled softly. Yes, we can. Let's all sit together, okay? Lila wanted to protest, but the sincerity in their faces disarmed her, so she nodded. Maya reached for her hand without fear, without hesitation, just pure childlike connection, and for the first time that day Lila felt seen, really seen. While Daniel went to order, Maya stayed chatting. She told Lila about school, about her favorite cartoons, about the drawings she made in art class, and Lila found herself laughing softly, the tension slowly melting off her shoulders. Daniel returned, balancing drinks and pastries, placing one carefully in front of Lila. I hope this is the kind you like. She inhaled the aroma and her face lit up. It's perfect, thank you. They talked for a while longer. Daniel asked gentle questions without prying. He asked if she came there often, if she had someone to help at home, if she worked somewhere, and Lila answered honestly she lived alone, she managed on her own. She used to be a graphic designer, but after the accident it became harder. She still freelanced, but clients faded away slowly like everyone else. When she said that, Daniel's expression tightened. That doesn't sound fair, he muttered, and Lila shrugged. Life isn't fair sometimes, but I'm getting by. Maya leaned against Lila's arm and whispered, I think you're really strong, and Lila's breath caught because no one had said that to her in years. Daniel glanced at his watch. He needed to leave soon, but something in his mind kept echoing, she's getting by, she shouldn't just be getting by. He looked at Lila again, really looked at her, a woman full of potential, trapped not by her paralysis but by the world's indifference. Lila saw him staring and felt that familiar insecurity rise. I'm sorry if I've taken too much of your time, she murmured. Not at all, he said quickly, but before he could say more Maya tugged again. Daddy, can she come with us? Lila's eyes widened. Oh no sweetheart, I can't just. Maya interrupted. We're going to see Mommy's garden, she told Lila proudly, the place where they planted flowers for her after she passed away. Daniel gave Maya a gentle squeeze on the shoulder. Let's not overwhelm Lila, okay? But Lila smiled. It's okay, thank you for asking me, she said softly. A calm silence settled among them. Then Daniel cleared his throat. Lila, if you don't mind me asking, can I have your card or contact? I might have something for you, work-related, that is, of course. Lila blinked, unsure he was serious, but she reached into her bag and handed him a small bent business card. He studied it, then tucked it neatly into his wallet. Thank you, he said with a nod. They parted ways, but that moment stayed with Daniel more than he expected. The next morning he sat at his desk with deadlines piling up, but his mind drifted back to Lila. He opened his laptop, looked up her portfolio, and felt his eyebrows rise. She was good, really good. Her designs were emotional, clean, expressive. She had talent companies would fight over if they knew her name. Without wasting another second he called his creative director. I want you to look at a designer, he said. Her name's Lila, send me your thoughts in an hour. An hour later he received a message. She's incredible, where did you find her? Daniel smiled. Just send her an offer, something fair, something worthy of her work. He didn't tell them about the cafe, didn't want to make her feel like a charity case. He wanted her hired because she deserved it, and she did. 2 days later Lila was in her apartment scrolling through her email when she saw it, an offer letter from Hartman Innovations, a full-time remote design position, generous salary, flexible hours, benefits, everything she had quietly dreamed of but never thought she'd get. She covered her mouth, tears filling her eyes. She reread the message over and over, then her phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. Hope the offer reaches you well. If you ever need anything let me know. Daniel and Maya say hi. She pressed a hand to her heart and cried, but they were the good kind of tears, the healing kind, the kind she hadn't felt in forever. She wrote back, thank you, I don't know what to say. Maya typed next, hi Miss Lila, I hope you're smiling. Lila laughed through her tears. I am, she replied, I really am. Weeks passed. Lila started her new job. Her confidence grew, her world expanded again. She even visited Maya and Daniel occasionally. They'd share pastries, laugh, talk about work and school. Life wasn't perfect, but it was better, much better. And one afternoon months later they all sat in that same cafe, the same window seat, this time not because she was alone but because she was part of something she'd thought she'd lost a long time ago, connection. Maya leaned her head on Lila's shoulder and whispered, you're our family now, you know that, right? Daniel looked at Lila with warmth in his eyes and said, Maya's right, you've become a big part of our lives and we're grateful you didn't leave that day. Lila looked out the window, sunlight pouring through the glass, and she realized that a moment of loneliness had turned into a moment of destiny. She had walked into that cafe feeling invisible, and now she felt seen, valued, loved. And sometimes life works that way. Sometimes the people who change everything appear when you least expect them, and sometimes a little girl with pigtails can see what the rest of the world overlooks. So if you ever feel invisible, just remember your story isn't over. Your moment, your people, your change might be just one unexpected encounter away. Thank you for watching, and if this story touched your heart, make sure to like, share and subscribe for more stories that remind us that kindness still exists in this world. See you in the next video.